The hour of convening has arrived, and the Senate will now come to order. This almost sounds funny to say this, but I'd ask that all unauthorized guests exit our chamber. Chair would like to recognize the distinguished Rules Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I feel like the Maytag repairman. It's a lonely day here in the chamber. I'm here with the great Kay Kirkpatrick, though. Moment in time, going back 1948, Governor Roy Barnes was born. He was the governor, the 80th governor of Georgia. He served 16 years in the Senate, 6 in the House, and became governor in 1998, just before I got here. Also, Otis Redding, sitting on the dock of the bay, received a gold record for his single, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, and was a great leader in the music industry here in Georgia. Mr. President, the journal's been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator. Is there objection to dispensing with the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. All two senators, if you have bills or resolutions, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. Mr. Secretary, first reading of Senate bills and resolutions, please.
Senate Bill 291 by Senator Jordan of the 6th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 8 of Chapter 9 of Title 34 of the OCGA relating to compensation for occupational disease so as to include COVID-19 within the meaning of occupational disease.
Insurance and labor.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
First reading of House bills and resolutions, please.
House Bill 655 by Representative Wilson of the 80th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to incorporate the city of Brookhaven in DeKalb County, approved April 16th, 2012.
State and local government.
House Bill 682 by Representative Jaspers of the 11th, a bill to be entitled an act to reconstitute and reestablish the Board of Elections and Registration for Pickens County, Georgia, to provide for effective dates to repeal
State and
conflicting
local
laws.
government.
House Bill 683 by Representative Jaspers of the 11th, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to create a Board of Elections and Registration for Pickens County and provide for its powers and
State
duties.
and local government.
House Bill 684 by Representatives Nix of the 69th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to create a Board of Elections and Registration for Troup County and provide for its powers
State
and
and
duties.
local government.
House Bill 685 by Representative Jaspers of the 11th, a bill to be entitled an act to reincorporate and provide a new charter for the city of Jasper, Georgia.
State and local government.
House Bill 705 by Representative Mathis of the 144th, a bill to be entitled an act to authorize the probate court of Bleckley County to charge a
State
technology
and local
fee.
government.
House Bill 707 by Representative Watson of the 172nd, a bill to be entitled an act to provide a new charter for the city of Coolidge to provide for pending matters.
State and local government.
House Bill 708 by Representatives Dreyer of the 59th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to create the city of Hapeville Public Facilities Authority to provide for a short title to provide for the
State and
appointment.
local government.
House Bill 711 by Representative Giarda of the 152nd, a bill to be entitled an act to amend an act to provide a new charter for the city of Sylvester, approved May 13th.
State and local government.
That completes the order, Mr. President.
Mr. Secretary, will you please read reports of standing committees?
Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Finance has had under consideration the following legislation, has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 63, do pass. House Bill 149, do pass. House Bill 271, do pass. House Bill 292, do pass. House Bill 374, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Huffstetler of the 52nd District, Chair. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 395, do pass. House Bill 119, do pass. House Bill 305, do pass. House Bill 234, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Watson of the 1st District, Chair. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Judiciary has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 497, do pass. House Bill 322, do pass by substitute. House Bill 620, do pass by substitute. House Bill 112, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Strickland of the 17th District, Chair. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Natural Resources and the Environment has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 355, do pass. House Bill 362, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Harper, 7th District, Chair. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Public Safety has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 169, do pass. House Bill 207, do pass by substitute. House Bill 246, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Albers of the 56th District Chair. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on Transportation has had under consideration the following legislation, has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation. House Bill 210, do pass. House Bill 174, do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ginn of the 47th District Chair. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Mr. Secretary, can you please read bills and resolutions for the second time?
House Bill 34 by Representative Belton of the 112th and others, Audiology and Speech Language Pathology Interstate Compact Act enact. House Bill 124 by Representative Williams of the 145th and others, Funeral Directors and Embalmers Multiple Cremation Devices provide. House Bill 150 by Representative Williamson of the 115th and others, Public Utilities and Public Transportation prohibit governmental entities from adopting any policy that prohibits the connection or reconnection of any utility service based upon the type or source of energy or fuel. House Bill 268 by Representative Werkheiser of the 157th and others, the Occupational Therapy Licensure Compact Act enact. That completes the order, Mr. President.
It's now time for morning roll call. It is now time for our morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Chair recognizes the senator from the 33rd.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, y'all. I'd like for unanimous consent to excuse the following senators from the roll call. Senator from the 35th, the 22nd, 38th, and as for business outside the Capitol.
Without objection, the senators from the 35th, 22nd, and 38th are excused. The chair recognizes the minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 40th.
Without objection, the senator from the 40th is excused. The chair recognizes the dean of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 2nd, sir.
Without objection, the senator from the 2nd is excused. Are there any additional motions to excuse? The secretary will call the roll of senators. Signify your presence by voting the A switch. The secretary will unlock the machine. Have all senators voted your machines? We've got some folks coming still. We'll leave it open for another minute. Have all senators voted? Is the hallway clear? We got one. Oh, he's already voted. All right. Mr. Secretary, please close the machine. It's now time for a morning devotional, and I ask that all senators take your seats and cease all audible conversations. Doorkeepers, please secure the chamber at this time. It's my honor to recognize a senator from the 32nd to take us through our Pledge of Allegiance and to introduce to us our chaplain of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please join me as we honor our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Georgia flag. I pledge allegiance to and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation. They're all saying courage now. I'd like to introduce you all to my constituent, our pastor of the day, Pastor Mark Beatty. And I promise, even though today is Wear Purple for Lupus Day, we did not coordinate our color combination this morning. Mark Beatty is the senior pastor at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in Marietta. He also serves as volunteer chaplain for the Johns Creek Veterans Association. During seminary preparation to become a pastor, Mark served 3 years in the Air Force Reserves as a chaplain candidate and second lieutenant. Prior to his Master of Divinity in 1999, Mark also went to UGA for his Master's in Social Work and worked as a hospital social worker in Charleston, South Carolina, before sensing the call to ordain ministry. Mark is husband to his wife, Dina, of 25 years. They have 2 children, Lauren, 15, and Brandon, 13, whom they adore even as teenagers. And although Mark's profession and call is serving as pastor, he also believes strongly in the call of being husband and father as well. In fact, he took several years on family leave from call to be an intentional stay-at-home dad with his kids when they were very young, a precious time that he would never trade. Mark currently lives with his family in Marietta near Holy Trinity, and they recently added a new member to the family, one with 4 legs and a tail, a Rhodesian Ridgeback pup. I know we're all looking forward to hearing from Pastor Beatty. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning. For our devotion this morning, I actually have a little something from the Gospel according to Peanuts. And this may have a little to do with my emotional and spiritual maturity, but I still really like cartoons. So I wanted to share this with you. And basically, we have a Linus this morning. Each picture is the same one for this cartoon. He is just standing in the same place in the midst of all these weeds way up high. And of course, they've been playing a ball game, and the ball is lost. I can't find the ball. What do you mean, pick it up? How do you expect anyone to find a ball in weeds like these? What did you hit it out here for? It's impossible. Of course I'm looking. I said I can't find it. If I could find it, would I still be out here? This is hopeless. Nobody could find anything out here. You couldn't find a battleship out here wait a minute, found it. So that's our devotion. How many times are we knee-high in weeds and we can't find what we're looking for? And part of the reason is we're so dismayed and frustrated. How do we get out here to begin with? How do we get in the midst of all these weeds? And then we get reactive, we get dismayed, and the more so we do that, the less we can see. We no longer have the vision to see what, thankfully, sometimes, oftentimes, is right there in our midst. We just can't see it. But that's the good news for us today, is that so often that ball, that answer, that solution, what we most need as the servant leaders we've been called to be, is right there in our midst. And perhaps that's because God is right here in our midst, whether we see God or not. God is a God of open doors, of open windows, and so it makes sense that even when we're flustered, frustrated, and reactive, we can't see anything around us, we're yelling at each other, "What do you mean, did I find it?" Yet our Lord is still right here with us. And what we most need, because our Lord is with us, is so often right in our midst. A reading from Joshua 1, the 9th verse. Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Isaiah 41, verse 10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you. Let us pray. Lord God, thank you for these, your servant leaders that you have called here in this place to be this group, this body gathered together, to be servants and leaders for the good of all people in this state. Help them especially in the times where the weeds seem so thick and when reactivity runs high, to regain a sense of reflection so that they may also regain a sense of vision, to be able to see you in their midst and to see also what is there before them. For you are a God of open doors and open windows. And so often, Lord, what we most need, thank you that it is right there in our midst, right there at our feet, if we are but willing to see. Thank you for this day. Thank you for walking with us. And I pray that you be with each and every senator this and every day, to walk ever close to them, to give them eyes to see what they most need to be able to see, to do the work of servant leadership with which you have called them. In your most holy name I pray. Amen.
Are there any unanimous consents? The chair sees none. Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? Does any senator wish to rise on a point of personal privilege? The chair recognizes the senator from the 9th for the purpose of introducing the doctor of the day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. Today, I rise to announce our doctor of the day, Dr. Sanal Dalal. Sanal Dalal, MD, is board certified by the American Board of Orthopedic Surgery. Dr. Dalal's practice at Ortho Atlanta includes general orthopedics, sports medicine, shoulder injuries, and fracture care. Dr. Dalal received his medical degree from the Ohio State University and performed his residency and fellowship, which focused on surgery of the hand and upper extremities, including elbow and shoulder, orthoscopy, and reconstruction. Both were done at the Medical College of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. Dr. Dalal has served a team physician for Duluth and Central Gwinnett High Schools, co-director of BB&T Atlanta Open Professionals Tennis Tournaments, and sideline physicians for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and Chick-fil-A Kickoff Game. Dr. Dalal also serves as a hand surgeon for the Atlanta Gladiators professional hockey team, and he is currently the president-elect for the Georgia Orthopedic Society. Let's all welcome Dr. Sanal Dalal. Thank you. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 8th for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I am honored to get to represent Valdosta, Georgia, which of course is the home of Valdosta State University. And I just wanted to give congratulations to Coach Mike Helfer. For the first time in Valdosta State men's basketball history, the number 17 Blazers won the Gulf Coast Conference tournament title after a thrilling 75-70 win over Alabama Huntsville Sunday afternoon on the campus of University of Montevallo. The victory awards VSU the automatic bid from the Gulf South Conference into the NCAA Division II Men's Basketball South Regional, hosted by VSU March the 13th through the 16th at the complex. The title marks the Blazers' first GSC postseason championship in its 7 attempts. VSU now is 24-25 all-time in 26 appearances in the GSC tournament. Guardian Bank Player of the Game and GSC Tournament Most Outstanding Player, senior Burke Putnam, recorded his third double of the season and second in a row. Putnam went 9 of 17 from the field for a season-high 28 points, along with snagging 12 rebounds and a team-high 7 assists. Junior Jacoby Owens finished with 16 points and brought down 5 rebounds. Senior Amoris Aggie and Owens were named to the GSC Men's Basketball Championship All-Tournament team, and Aggie finished with 15 points and 5 rebounds. The Blazers are now the number 4 seed in the regional and will face Gulf South Conference foe West Georgia on Saturday at 6 o'clock. So to our VSU Blazers, we're proud of you and looking forward to you guys going all the way. I appreciate you, Mr. President. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 36th for a point of personal privilege.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today in recognition of March as Women's History Month, and I have chosen Patrice Kahn Cullors as a woman whose work very much deserves lifting up and acknowledging. She was born into a low-income family in Los Angeles, California, and became an activist in her high school years. She is an activist, artist, and playwright who's been acknowledged for her contributions to civil rights, really on the world stage. A young woman. Oftentimes, we lift up the names of people who have contributed and passed on, or who are very late in their lifespan. Patrice Kahn Cullors is 40 years old. What has brought her such widespread acknowledgement across our country and actually internationally? She is one of the young women, the 3 young women who launched the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement. A history-making effort that has grown and swept the country and is now a slogan and a movement that has become the Black Lives Movement and has become acknowledged worldwide for its tenacity at standing up for civil rights and opposing the dreadful violence that we've seen across our nation across 400 years against African American people. She had a life that informed her of the contradictions that she organized against in society, and that is family members in prison, young brothers with mental illness that were mistreated for years and maltreated, and growing up in a very poor neighborhood and seeing what happened to the black youth in her community and beginning to understand the patterns that emerged from that. So Patrice Kahn Cullors, for her work, has been granted she's a Fulbright scholar. She's been recognized by Time magazine, by 100 most influential people, Fortune for the world's greatest leaders. The BBC has given her an honor. The Los Angeles Times included her as the new civil rights leaders. So this is a young woman, really at a very relatively young age, whose profile and activism rose to be recognized nationally and internationally. She continues her work today. I recommend to you her book, When They Call You a Terrorist, a Black Lives Movement memoir, which tells you of what she went through along with fellow activists and organizers as they sought to stand up and mobilize and organize for full liberation for African American people. I'm proud today to lift up the name of Patrice Kahn Cullors. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. You have a consent calendar of privileged resolutions before you. Does any senator wish to remove a resolution from the consent calendar? Is there objection to the adoption of the resolutions on the consent calendar? Chair hears none, and the resolutions on the consent calendar are adopted. Are there any motions to withdraw and commit? Going once, going twice. We're now going to move on to the rules calendar. We are now going to move on to the rules calendar. Mr. Secretary, can you please read the caption as Senate Bill 274?
There's no substitute or amendment.
Senate Bill 274 by Senator Thompson of the 14th and others, a bill to be entitled an act to provide a homestead exemption from Bartow County School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes in the full amount of the first $400,000 of the assessed value of the homestead for residents of that school district who are 80 years of age or older, to provide that applicants have paid ad valorem property taxes in Bartow County for the previous 5 years and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Government recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Anderson of the 24th District, Chair. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator. Oh, there's an amendment to read.
Mr. President, Senator Huffstetler of the 14th District offers the following amendment. 1 to Senate Bill 274 by replacing 2022 in line 52 with 2023 and ending on or before December 31st, 2028, by replacing 2021 in line 61 with 2022, by replacing 2022 in line 75 with 2023. That completes the order, Mr. President.
All right, now the chair recognizes the senator from the 14th to speak to Senate Bill 274 and the amendment, his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is very simple. Normally, you'd vote on this bill through a consent agreement, but here's the deal. This is coming to us from the school board, so we're simply local control, allowing them the homestead exemption that they've asked for us in 274. What it really does is simply this. It simply adds that homeowners who are 65 of age or older and their property taxes are levied to a reduction of a property valuation of $60,000. Mr. President, the amendment is a friendly amendment, and I support that amendment as well. With that, I'll yield the well.
Senator has yielded the well. Does the senator from the 52nd want to speak to the amendment? Chair recognizes the senator from the 52nd to speak to the measure and the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, I've only missed one day this session, which was Tuesday, and apparently it was an exciting day. So I was going through this bill. We had done the same thing for the city of Cartersville last year, only because the school board requested that. I'm generally not for forcing tax exemptions on school systems unless they're requested. The senior citizens, a group of them had requested 100% tax exemption. This is much, much less than that, but it's what the school board said in writing they wanted, same as the Cartersville School Board did last year. I'm also embarrassed to say that the senator from the 42nd pointed out that we didn't have the sunset in here like we had in the Cartersville City one, and so that's what this amendment does. And the other thing upon looking at it was that it was going to have an election this year and an off year. And so the amendment moves that election to next year so that we don't have to have a special election. So these will make it identical for Bartow County, what Cartersville School was already given, and it will move the years on it so that the election takes place next year and it sunsets December 31st, 2028. If there's no questions, I'll yield the well.
You have no questions. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against Senate Bill 274 or the amendment? The chair sees none. We'll take up amendment number 1. Chair recognizes the senator from the 10th to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of this body. I come before you today because this is really 2 bills that were on the local consent calendar that did not get the 2/3 vote. When those bills failed to get the 2/3 votes, we now see these bills appear. And I just wanted to talk about local matters and how typically we do not interfere in local matters with local jurisdictions. And I know these particular bills require 2/3 votes, and our caucus is waiting on a response from the senator from the 24th on what is an important local matter for us. As I mentioned in this world previously, Senate Bill 21 is signed by our minority leader, our senator from the 55th, as well as our chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, our senator from the 43rd. Our caucus, and I am waiting a response as to what is going to happen with a crucial bill that's 25 pages long. And I've said repeatedly that every moment that we wait is one less time that my delegation in the House has to vet the legislation. That's a really large bill, and it's also one less day that they will have to hold town hall meetings regarding what's really crucial and important and a matter that we've been working on in this body, this legislative body, for 2 years. So I would simply ask that in order to gain unanimous support for what is a local matter on this calendar before us today, is that the majority party respond and give our caucus, the members of our delegation, an opportunity to know with some certainty that our bills aren't being held up just because. I appreciate this legislation. I would certainly support this legislation. I want to support this legislation, and I would want all of our caucus members to support this legislation. However, there is an issue that needs to be resolved, and I would hope that the members of the majority party would be sensitive to our position and just simply give us a date certain as to when that would happen. And Mr. President, if there aren't any questions, then I would yield the well and take my seat.
You have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the measure or the amendment? The chair sees none. Would the senator from the 14th like to close? He waves. All right, we're going to take up amendment number 1. The question is on the adoption of amendment number 1. Is there objection to adoption of the amendment? The chair hears none, and amendment number 1 is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none, and the main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill as amended. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. For what purpose does the senator from the 14th rise?
Mr. President, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that a green is to support the senior citizens in our district?
I'm certain the gentleman knows of what he speaks. What purpose does the pro tem rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
State
President.
your inquiry.
Mr. President, isn't it always good for this body to work together and to find a way to work together on each other's legislation, even though it might be local legislation that is yours? Isn't it good that we all work together?
The chair definitely thinks that's a great idea.
I would
Thank you for
urge
highlighting.
each and every senator to walk in the other man's shoes. Thank you, Mr. President.
Have all senators voted? Pro tem, vote your machine. There you go. All right, Mr. Secretary, please close the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed as amended. Mr. Secretary, can you please read the caption as Senate Bill 275?
Senate Bill 275 by Senator Thompson of the 14th and others. A bill to be entitled an act providing for a homestead exemption from certain Bartow County School District ad valorem taxes for educational purposes for certain residents of that school district who are 65 years of age or older and for other purposes. Mr. President, the Senate Committee on State and Local Government recommends that this bill do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Anderson of the 24th District. Mr. President, Senator Hufstetler of the 52nd has offered the following amendment number 1 to amend Senate Bill 275 by replacing 2022 on line 23 with 2023, replace 2021 on line 32 with 2022, replace 2022 on line 44 with 2023, replace 2022 on line 45 with 2023, add after 2022 on line 45 with and ending on December 31st, 2028. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 14th to speak to Senate Bill 275 and the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for favorable consideration on the previous. This is a companion that goes with it. Senate Bill 275, again, is exactly what the school board is asking for. It's 100% school tax exemption up to $400,000 for fair market value of their home for homeowners who are 80 years or older on January 1st. Mr. President, there is a favorable amendment on that the senator from the 52nd, it's the exact same thing, and that is that we noticed in there that they were calling for an election in this year. It should have actually been in 2022. And with that, Mr. President, I ask favorable consideration.
Senator has yielded the well. Does the senator from the 52nd wish to speak to the amendment? Chair recognizes the senator from the 52nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the identical thing we did on the last bill. We had to change the years on it so that the election is held next year, not to have a cost of a special election, and to put the sunset on it as well. If there's no questions, I'll yield the well.
You have no questions. Does any other senator wish to speak to the bill or the amendment? The chair sees none. All right, we'll take up the amendment number 1. The questions on the adoption of amendment number 1. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and amendment number 1 is adopted. Is there objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which is favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Is there objection to the main question being ordered? The chair hears none. The main question is ordered. Questions on the passage of the bill as amended. All those in favor vote yea. Opposed, nay. The secretary will unlock the machine. What purpose does the senator from the 14th rise?
Mr. President, parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that a green vote would be another support for the senior citizens in Bartow County?
Yes, sir. The senator that continue to speak with great passion. I'm stumped. Have all senators voted? Mr. Secretary, please close the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed as amended. Chair recognizes the majority leader for a motion.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate stand adjourned until 10 o'clock on Monday, 15 March 2021.
Mr. Secretary, can you please read the announcements?
Rules will meet upon adjournment in 450 at the Capitol. Public Safety will meet at 1 p.m. in Mezzanine 1. Agriculture and Consumer Affairs will meet at 2:15 in Mezzanine 1. Transportation is canceled. Regulated Industries and Utilities will meet at 3:30 and 450 of the Capitol. Appropriations, the Economic Development Subcommittee, will meet at 4 p.m. in Mezzanine 1. Government Oversight is canceled. That completes the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the pro tem for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I intended to do this earlier this morning, but I noticed there was only a couple of folks, so I'll be brief, and I know y'all are ready to get out of here. I rise today to speak to a gentleman in my community by the name of Milton Martin Sr. Milton Martin Sr. was a man of limited education, but of great success and great service to his fellow man. He was a man of God. He was a man of family. He put his family first in everything. He was an automobile dealer, and he changed the trajectory of my entire life and my family's life by getting me involved in automobile business. And I'm very grateful to his family, and his son-in-law and his daughter. They were just really great folks. And Mr. Martin was always trying to act like he was dumb like a fox. And, you know, he would say, he would pretend like he was getting things confused when he really knew exactly what he was talking about. He'd walk in one day and he had his cell phone in his hand. He was dialing a number. And he said, put it back up. And he dialed it again, put it back up. He said, Butch, can you call the house for me? I said, no, but I can change the station on the television. And he would get words. He didn't really get the words confused. There were similar words, and he would just play this dumb like a fox thing.
He says we bought these. He bought these cars one time. They were handicap accessible vans. He bought like 10 of them, and he'd go to the auction and buy all these cars. And I said, Mr. Martin, what are we going to do with all these vans? These handicap accessible vans. There's not that many people. There's not that big a demand. He said, well, we're going to sell them to paralegals. I said, you mean paraplegics? He said, yeah, them too. And I was playing golf with him one time, and we both hit our ball in the woods. And he walked up to this ball, and he looked at the ball, and he said, can I get out of taking a penalty shot? And I looked, and I said, no, Mr. Martin, I don't think you can. He said, good, because that's your ball. I just want to share with this body how much I loved Milton Martin Sr. and his family. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me a moment. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. Chair recognizes the senator from the 36th for an announcement.
Colleagues, I want to welcome you to join us for the Working Families Caucus weekly luncheon. You can pick up your lunch to go in LOB 304. That's LOB 304. And then tune in on Zoom to see our program. We're sponsored today by the Georgia Association of Educators, and we'll be having an extensive review of the education bills that are pending before both chambers. You are welcome, and we hope you can take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 19th for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two quick announcements. One, the Senate Flower Fund. Remember, we do not use state funds when we send flowers, when we have a benevolent request on behalf of Senate members or their family members of a senator or a senator's family member passes away. Please remember that's only done by donations. Those checks will need to be made out to the Secretary of the Senate. So if you do want to contribute to that fund, please do so today if you have your check with you. Also remember that the Senate request book is closed now. The mail just ran, so the Senate request book is closed, and subcommittee chairs, please have your reports to the Senate Budget Office by 5 p.m. today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 2nd for an announcement.
Good morning, members. Today is the Divine Nine Day at the Capitol. They are watching the proceedings right now. There will be a Zoom meeting where all legislators can participate. Go online to participate. It begins at 6:30 this evening. The Divine Nine Day at the Capitol begins at 6:30 this evening. We urge everyone to take part in this Day at the Capitol. Thank you.
All right, the majority leader has moved that the Senate stand adjourned until Monday, March 15th, 2021 at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. I assure you the ayes have it, and the Senate stands adjourned.